It's September 22nd, 2006 in Pocatello, Idaho. A 16-year-old girl named Cassie Jo Stoddart spends the weekend house-sitting for her aunt and uncle. It's a Friday night, so she invites a couple of friends over to watch a movie. They hang out for a while, they leave, her boyfriend heads home, and Cassie stays. What happened inside that house later that night would take days for investigators to fully understand, and even longer for her community to process. Welcome back to Macabre Mondays, where mystery meets macabre with your favorite deadly Mary duo. I'm Ale.
And I'm Tom.
Your guides through the strange, the sinister, and the spooky. And that's it. No,
Spooky.
I'm not even gonna ask you where we're heading today. I'm just gonna dive right in. It's gonna be one of those episodes. We're just gonna dive right in. South America. No. We're gonna be in the U.S. We're actually going to Idaho.
Idaho potatoes.
We're going to Pocatello, Idaho. Have you ever heard of Pocatello? I've never heard of Pocatello. I know.
But it sounds cool.
It looks pretty cool, honestly. If you want to look on your slide, you can go to slide 2. I always create a slide presentation for Tom.
Oh.
Yeah, don't go any further. But anyways, I always create a slide presentation for Tom so he can follow along with the photos so he understands the story that I am telling.
Wow. This looks nice.
It's cute. Very cute. Yes. So today we're heading to Pocatello, Idaho. We're going to be going to September 22nd of 2006. Do you remember do you remember anything about 2006?
In September specifically?
I mean, it doesn't have to be September specifically, but it could be just 2006.
I mean, I don't know if it was 2006 for sure, but I remember waking me up when September ended.
Wake me up when September ends. Such a good band. I just love it. So good.
Classic.
Such a good song. Anyways, yeah, very classic. Honestly, I love that. I love that so much. I don't think I can recall anything from 2006. No? I probably can recall something. I just don't know if it's from the year 2006.
Yeah. I think the only other thing I can remember, I'm almost positive 2006, I got a CD radio player for my birthday.
Oh, how cool.
And I thought it was the coolest shit ever because for those that are listening that never lived without cell phones.
Oh, yeah.
That was back in the day when you had to have a radio in your room, seriously. So you had an alarm.
Straight up. Dead ass. No, seriously. Oh, my God. So I'm like, what happened in 2006? I Google it real quick. First thing, the execution of Saddam Hussein. I was like, damn, shit. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just crazy. And then the launch of Twitter.
Wow, Twitter.
It was a major milestone. Pluto was being declassified as a dwarf planet.
Thank you, Neil.
No, it was being reclassified as a dwarf planet. It was being declassified as a planet.
Yeah. Neil, I have a grudge.
I love you, Neil deGrasse Tyson. I listen to Star Talk probably every other night before I go to bed. If you guys have listened to it, it's his podcast. It's really great. But anyways, back to it. I'm over here like, we're going to jump right into it. And we're like, what happened in 2006? We made it to Pocatello,
First thing,
Idaho.
Saddam Hussein.
I know. Anyways, okay. It's September 22nd of 2006. Pocatello is a very small city in the southern eastern of Idaho. It sits near the Portneuf River, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering that, but that's how I'm pronouncing it, surrounding by a lot of hills and open land. It looks beautiful. I mean, you saw some of the photos that I showed. It's the kind of place where, as you can imagine, people know each other. You know, high school football games really mattered here. Teenagers' lives revolve around school, friends, and whatever you're going to be doing that weekend.
Sounds like a lot of what I grew up in.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say. The only I knew it. I was like, wow, it really is giving Tom's growing up.
Why do you think it's so funny? Because Claudio and I watch
my brother-in-law. Yeah.
Yes. We watch, also my brother-in-law now.
Okay, yeah, chill.
We watch, what is it? All American.
Oh, the show. Yeah.
Every time we're watching, he's like, yeah, I mean, the schools I went to weren't like this. And I said, oh, they were for me. Like, going to high school football games, even Friday Night Lights. Like,
I was going to say, I've never seen Friday Night Lights, but it's the same premise. Yeah.
You've never
I know.
seen...
I've never. I've got to see that.
Mark
we
that
should
as
put that
another.
on the, we should put that down.
But
This
yeah,
is
that's
what we get.
literally what it was. You would go to the football game Friday nights.
It was like the big thing.
Yes.
Big thing. Big thing.
No joke. I'm pretty sure if you were to rob a house in those small cities, that was the prime time to do it because everybody in the city was at the football game. Nobody would be home.
Wow. That's my theory for, well, not really a theory, but I always, every time it's 4th of July and people are going somewhere to watch the fireworks, I always think, wow, this must be prime time for thieves or house break-ins because most likely everybody's going to go watch the local fireworks.
Imagine somebody broke into our house. I would just take a Roman candle and be like, doof, doof, doof.
Oh my God.
I'm Harry Potter.
You're ridiculous. Okay, so pretty much Pocatello, Idaho, pretty much Tom grew up in.
Flyover state.
Yes, exactly. Now, it's Friday, September 22nd of 2006, and this story is going to start like a lot of normal high school weekends do. We've got a 16-year-old girl named Cassie Jo Stoddart. Cassie is a junior at the Pocatello High School. She's got really good grades. Friends of hers say that she made friends easily. Everybody would get along with her. And plus, she is so pretty. She's giving me like Avril Lavigne, a skater boy. Yeah. She was a skater
She is
boy.
giving the
Yes.
classic 2000s, like
Yes.
kind of mix of that emo goth, but
Yeah, and like you're,
preppy.
yeah, and exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. She's exactly giving that vibes. Like I loved it when I saw. I was like, oh my gosh, she's so cute. I love it. Teachers and family and friends describe her as super dependable and the type of dependable that you would hope that all 16-year-olds are. So you could really count on her. She was very responsible for her age because, you know, not a lot of 16-year-olds are... They're more busy worried about other things. So that weekend, her aunt and uncle were out of town and asked Cassie if she could house sit for them and take care of their pets. They had, I saw a documentary and they were talking about that they had 2 dogs and 2 cats. Regardless, they had pets. It don't really matter. But, of course, Cassie agrees. Now, her aunt's house was in a very rural area called Whispering Cliffs. It's just outside of the town. And it's a lot more spread out, fewer houses. And so, as you can imagine, it was going to be darker at night. Now, Cassie was there to take care of the pets, make sure everything was okay, and just look after the house while they're gone. And because it was Friday night, September 22nd, okay, she ends up... Just going to throw it out. 2006.
September 22nd.
2006, because I made it a big deal apparently about 2006. She invited over, earlier in the day while she was in class, she invited her boyfriend to come hang out with her at the house and 2 other friends to chill like that Friday night, just like watch a movie and I'm like, all right.
Typical Friday night.
Typical Friday night. So she invites her boyfriend, Matt Beckham, and 2 other classmates and friends of hers, Tori Adamanchik and Brian Draper.
Okay.
Now, they were all around the same age, same high school, you know, very familiar faces. They all knew each other, nothing really unusual about them hanging out or anything. So later that night, they're all hanging out at Cassie's aunt's house. Now, it's not a party. It's literally just teens chilling and watching a movie, like just hanging out. At one point, they end up putting on a movie, and from what I could see, they put on Kill Bill Volume 2. Have you ever seen any of the Kill Bills?
No, I guess add that to the list.
Yeah, those are like classic. Those are some classic.
So is Friday Night Lights.
Yeah. Well,
We have our own differences.
No,
I stayed on the happy.
Yeah, clearly.
Nightmares.
Clearly. No, I mean, I think right there, that just gives you it's exactly who we are in our marriage. It's just who we are. This is what we married into. It is what it is. Now, they're all hanging out.
There's a reason I didn't watch scary movies. I'd accidentally see because we didn't have cable.
Oh,
and next thing I know, America's Most Wanted came on. Guess what I thought was a huge concern? All these guys on America's Most Wanted were somehow going to choose my little house in my little hometown in the butt crack middle of nowhere, Indiana, and say, hey, we should go into that house and kill Thomas.
That guy, yeah. You know what's so
funny? Why was that a fear?
Yeah. Aw. Well, you know, I can relate because I remember me and my family went camping. I think I told you the story, but we went camping and we were telling scary stories in the tent. And I forgot who was telling the scary story, but they were pretty much talking about the Zodiac killer was still out there and they never knew who he was and that he could actually be out here right now.
Mind you, by this time, this man's old as shit already.
No, like, yo, that shit got to me.
Or
And I was
woman,
like,
because again, we never really confirmed.
We really don't know. It's very
It
true.
could
We
have been
don't
both.
know. We don't know who the Zodiac killer is in the end. But still, it literally terrified me. I remember that night I went to sleep in the tent. And I was like, oh my God, he's going to fucking kill me. What am I going to do?
Oh, man.
And like, for what? Come on.
Yep.
So I can relate, babe. I can relate. Don't
You can
worry.
relate, but you watched all of the scary movies.
Yeah, but that's different.
Now I'm numb. I laugh at most of them.
You do.
And
I mean,
also,
anytime we go to
I
haunted
love
houses.
The oh, that is hilarious.
Yeah, you
I'll
love
talk
doing
with
that.
the actors sometimes.
It's too much. And
Play
I'm
back.
I'm literally like, trying to get scared. And I'm like, damn, they literally just put on a show and you missed it because you're talking to the chainsaw man. Come on. Okay. So now this wasn't a party or anything, right? Just chilling, watching movies. They're hanging out. They're talking, doing what high schoolers are going to do when parents aren't around. Nothing dramatic is happening. So around 9:30 p.m. that night on September 22nd, 2006, because like you said,
Okay.
Tori and Brian say, hey, listen, we're going to head out. We're going to the movies. So they leave the house around 9:30. Now, it's just Cassie and Matt alone in her aunt and uncle's home in Whispering Cliffs.
Okay, I see this is going to typical high school routine, maybe?
Oh. I see what high school routine you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was like, what? Like, finish the movie?
No, that's what I would have thought as a high schooler because I was an innocent little high schooler.
Stop. You're so funny. You said that, I was like, oh, okay. That took me a second.
Oh,
Okay. I was
man.
like, what are they? Oh, okay. So as you can imagine, it was after 9:30. It's dark outside. And remember, this neighborhood's got pretty much not many street lights.
Not none.
Not none. Is a bit more rural. So Matt and Cassie are watching the movie. And at some point, out of nowhere, the power goes out in the house.
Well,
That was a good night, everybody.
I think
it's best we leave it here.
if I was her, I'd be looking at my boyfriend going, I don't know if something's going to happen, but you better kill whatever's going to come in here.
Well, but would you immediately assume? I mean, it is freaky for sure, but would you immediately assume?
I'm a home alone.
Whoa.
All right, here's the difference.
Because I've got a great
Hold on.
time to tell you about.
Here's the thing. If I was in my house that I grew up in, wouldn't have thought anything of it.
Okay.
If I was at a friend's house and I had multiple friends that lived out in the middle of nowhere
True. That's a good point.
and the power went out,
That's a good point.
I think, and
They're
if
out of
it,
her
wait,
aunt's
was it
house.
storming?
No. Was
Then
not
yes,
storming.
I would be a little bit, depends on the friend, but I think I would be a little bit,
What the fuck was that?
that's a little weird.
Should we check it out?
Don't you think?
Yeah.
You got a flashlight?
No, it's a good point because they are at her aunt's house, and I would assume she knows her aunt's house for sure. But still, it is going to be freaky. I mean, especially being at that age, I would definitely be freaked. I mean, I would be freaked out any age, to be honest. Remember that one time that the power went out at our house here? And I was like, oh my God, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck are we going to do? Where's the flashlights? So yeah, freaky, right?
Now we
Freaky.
got some strong ass lights.
Yes. So the lights go out, television shuts off, and as you can imagine, the house is silent. And when you're 16 in a house that isn't yours,
That feels even creepier.
it's going to feel even creepier. Yes. Now, they start getting freaked out because, of course, I mean, who wouldn't really? Because they start actually hearing random noises.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really know the house, and they're just hearing these noises. But then the light comes back on. Now, they go back to watching the movie, but then at some point it ends up happening again.
Okay, maybe it's just a faulty. If it came back on, I might not
Right.
think much of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Could be just the power grid. I will say, for those of you that grew up in the Midwest,
Uh-huh.
we had transformers blow up. That's
Oh.
the box on the side of some of the electrical power
I
lines.
immediately thought, I was filtering through
Yeah.
my thoughts. I thought
Bumblebee.
of Bumblebee. I was like, Bumblebee, power box, transformer. Got it.
No,
got
we
it.
would have the transformers blow up, and you would see blue.
Oh, I've seen
light
videos. Yes,
light
I've
up
seen
the sky.
videos. Yes, yes. So the power cuts out a second time, and actually, like, they keep hearing noises. One of the dogs actually starts barking down the basement door.
Oh, hell
You
no.
know, like at that point,
No.
if
Basements,
the dog
cut
says,
it.
yeah.
I'm grabbing the dogs and the cats.
And we're
well,
out.
actually, I might not even grab the cats. Cats are so self-sufficient. They will hide, and they're good at that.
That's a good point.
Dogs, me, boyfriend, in the car, out.
Okay. So, yeah, okay. Valid, because I would, yes, valid. Now, the dog is barking at the basement door. They don't go check it out or do anything. I've heard different, because they were scared.
Oh, well,
They were scared. Yeah,
that
yeah,
makes
they were
sense. That makes
scared.
sense.
Yeah, because they were scared and they just didn't really know what to do. And
Sorry,
so
you didn't really add that.
I was getting there. My bad.
Initially, I'm thinking, oh, so they're just chilling,
yeah,
thinking
they're just
it's
sitting
no
there
big
like,
deal.
well, hopefully we can finish Kill Bill. No. So they're like freaked out, literally freaked out.
As one would
so
be.
freaked out that Matt calls his mom and is like, hey.
Smart move.
Yeah, and Matt's mom was actually going to come pick him up, for the night. So they're not even, it's not like, they're getting
be
dropped
like,
off at this house.
Drive fucking fast.
No,
I
but-
don't know what's going on. Get here now.
So they didn't even drive here. They don't even have a car. They got dropped off at her aunt's house, right? So it's not like if they could leave.
Oh, so they can't even.
really go
Great.
anywhere. Yeah, they could probably
This
find a
is
neighbor's
every
house.
scary movie ever.
Okay, yeah, exactly. That's a good point. And so he calls mom, and he's like, "Hey." She's gonna come pick him up anyways, and he's like, "Can I stay here with Cassie because she's freaked out? Like the lights were going on and off. It is freaky.
No.
All that."
Hey, can I bring Cassie with me? And can you get here in 2 minutes?
So then Cassie's mom was like, "You, of course, rightfully so." She's like,
mom.
"Yeah." His mom was like, "Rightfully so, no, because you're
Yep.
16. You no, but tell Cassie to come back with us if she is scared."
Okay.
Cassie, though, unfortunately, she's like, "No, I'm responsible. I said that I was going to take care of the house and I have to let out the dogs and feed them, blah, 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 all this stuff." So then she did not go with Matt. So at this point, it's like 11:15 and his mom comes pick him up, like shortly after that call, picks him up and leaves. Now I want to place a trigger warning here. You're going to hear the bell. After Matt ends up leaving the house goes quiet again because the power shuts off. Again.
Mm-hmm.
And at this time, Cassie's by herself. Cassie is unfortunately attacked and stabbed in the living room area of the house.
Holy shit.
Yes, there are signs of a struggle. The furniture's moved. There's movement across the floor. The autopsy later would end up showing that she actually suffered 30 stab wounds.
Jesus.
30 stab wounds, yes. And at least 12 of them were considered fatal. And it said at least 2 different knives were to have been used.
Two different.
Yes. I know. So unfortunately, she is murdered. She's killed.
Yeah.
So there's no 911 calls from that house the night. There's no neighbors reporting any screams or no immediate response, essentially, that I could find. And 2 days later, on Sunday, September 24th of 2006, Cassie's aunt and uncle are driving back home from their vacation to the house that Cassie is babysitting. And so nothing looks broken from when they get there. Nothing looks disturbed from the outside. And when they go inside the house, they unfortunately find Cassie in the living room floor, and her aunt and uncle call 911. I think it was like her cousin, Cassie's cousin, calls 911, but regardless, they call 911.
What about the dogs?
Dogs are all good. Reportedly all good. Yeah. The dogs are fine. But Cassie, unfortunately, after Matt left, somebody ended up coming in there and attacking her. Yeah. Because 30 stab wounds. Whoa, dude. That's passionate. That's rage.
We just went over this. That's
first degree murder.
Yes.
That sounds. Oh no, second
third.
degree. No, second degree. Second degree because second degree is like passionate. A passionate.
Oh,
killing.
I see.
Yeah. First degree was premeditated murder.
Isn't that like the pre-planned?
Yeah, where it's pre-planned. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So of course the police come and they start asking questions. The obvious, who was here?
Yeah.
Who knew that she was staying here? Is there any forced entry? They notice there's no broken window. There's no kicked-in door. There's nothing really out of the ordinary inside the house.
Which is wild.
It's crazy. But they do take note. They notice the fuse box is open.
Where's the fuse box? Downstairs?
In the basement. Sorry.
Of course it is.
Yes. So it's in the basement. And remember, the dogs were barking at the basement, which is interesting. Fingerprint testing is done on the fuse box. They do catch one set of prints that match someone, and it's Cassie's mom's boyfriend.
What?
Yes. But when they question him, his alibi checks out. He did say that he did come to the aunt's house like a few days prior to take care of something, to help with something or whatnot. So he's cleared.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he's
okay.
good. I know. I'm sorry. You know what it is? You're just so used to. Obviously, we're doing this once a week.
Yes.
You're like hearing a difference. You're like, oh no.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I know. You're on a roller coaster. I know. So he's cleared. Everything's fine. His alibi checks out.
all right.
Now, at some point during those early interviews, the police obviously end up learning that Cassie had her boyfriend Matt come to the house, and of course, they're going to look at the people most close to her.
Yeah.
Because, of course, they're going to investigate that. Police end up speaking with Matt. They get him in for an interrogation. And they learn that the last person that ever saw her alive was going to be him.
Yeah.
And he even said, yeah. So they sit him down. They question him. They comment on, like, his demeanor, which it really is. Like, if you look at the interrogation videos, his demeanor is off, right?
Okay.
But from what we can tell in the video, like, he is shaken up, but he's not as shaken up as you would assume or expect someone who just found out their girlfriend just was murdered.
Okay.
But again, he's 16. Like, it's...
Yeah.
And when
Well,
you're in a room like that, you're not...
Yeah.
You don't know, really comprehend, essentially, yeah.
I was also going to say, one, he's 16. And initially, my head instantly went to, okay, well, why did... Like, she was dead for 2 days?
Mm-hmm.
More than likely. So did he not text her and get concerned? But then I also remember it's 2006. The iPhone hadn't even come out yet.
Yeah, they had landlines. Yeah.
So I'm also kind of like, well,
they did. So to answer your question, like, even her mom was calling to check in on her that weekend. Yeah, but then...
I guess I didn't even think about that. Wow.
Yeah, but she was like, she'll probably get back to me. She wants to also give her freedom and her space. And she's like, she'll probably get back to me or whatnot. And then they find her Sunday. Matt, I think, did call her during that time, but she never picked up either. But again, it's like, okay, she'll probably get back to me. It's the weekend. Like,
and back in, just another reminder, back at this time, you still paid for minutes and everything else. So the more you called.
For the landline?
I don't know on landlines.
Oh, but you talk about phones. Yeah, like if you had a phone. I mean, yeah.
I don't know
they
how
didn't have the
landlines were
BlackBerry.
charged.
I think it's just monthly.
You just paid monthly? I don't
No,
know.
I don't even know. That's a good question.
I don't know back at this time.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. But regardless, they did end up calling. And she unfortunately didn't pick up.
Yeah.
Because she was murdered on Friday night. Aside from him just not like appearing as you would assume he would after finding out that his girlfriend was murdered, he was still super cooperative, and he ends up telling his officers exactly what ended up happening the Friday night of the 22nd. He said that he and Cassie were at the house. They had their two friends, Brian and Tori, ended up stopping by. They watched Kill Bill Volume 2, and the friends left around 9:30 p.m. to go whatever. Power goes out a few times. He calls his mom. She's like, she can come back, but unfortunately Cassie says no because she's being responsible, which is like sad too in itself. And like her parents, her mom actually did answer. I think it was her mom or her aunt answered an interview, and they said that they asked her, like, would you have wished she wasn't so responsible in that moment? And they were like, yeah. And I'm like, damn, she's 16 and she's just like
trying to be a good kid.
Trying to be a good kid and be responsible. And yeah, it was just, she's being reliable and all that. And then because of that, that's why.
Yeah.
And it's not even, I'm not saying that she put herself there, obviously, because
she wouldn't have known.
But like, she was like, you know what? No, I should stay here and
take care of the animals. I made a commitment.
Right, right, exactly. And that's just so sad to know at the end. So Matt ends up telling them everything, right? And he ended up leaving around 11:15.
Okay.
So in the interrogation videos, okay, there's also this docu-series. I'll mention it more at the end, but there's a docu-series and they have all the interrogation videos on there as well, which is really helpful. But in the interrogation videos, they're asking Matt to describe like how the night went. They're literally like, replay it again for me. Replay it again for me. Tell, from start to finish.
Trying to see what details are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe something might snag, or maybe they'll be like, oh, maybe he remembers something else that
or
he didn't.
Says something differently from
yes. So he says, we went to her house, Brian and Tori came, Cassie gave us a house tour, and then we all like watched the movie. And then Matt ends up saying in the interrogation room, like, oh yeah, I was showing Tori and Brian a knife. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're like, a knife? He's like, yeah, there was just like a cool knife, so we were like looking at it or whatever. And in the interrogation room, his mom is like, gets up because he's 16, so his mom has to be present. His mom gets up. He's like, hey, I'm stopping this here because I did not know about this, and we're going to be leaving right now. So they end up leaving, and they come back. And Matt tells him, I don't know if it's like exact same day, but relatively some close. Yeah. And Matt ends up telling them like, oh yeah, I was just showing them like a knife it was like a cool knife or whatever. And they were like, okay, well, pretty much, why don't you take a polygraph test? And he's like, yeah, I'll do that. Sure. Takes a polygraph test, passes with flying colors. Okay. Now, of course, a polygraph test cannot omit.
I was going to say, aren't they
they're inadmissible in court, yeah. But cops use it as a tool because maybe somebody's nervous, whatever. It kind of goes based off of that. I don't know all the scientific, but you can't. It's not really hard proof evidence that someone is lying or telling the truth.
Yeah, I can't remember if you saw. There's videos of guys that are professionals that
I've
literally
never seen that, but I've heard of it.
Do the polygraph, and they'll answer blanket statements that for a fact they are lying, and they pass it.
Yeah, no, because you gotta control. There's a lot.
Yeah, it'll be like, "Are you a boy?" Nope.
Stop.
And nothing
now I need
moves,
to see that. That's
and
crazy.
It just stays like so steady. And the people doing it are just like, see, this is proof of why these are not allowed to be used in the court of law. Because if you are able to keep yourself composed enough, keep your confidence, keep your heart rate from raising and all this other stuff, you can just confidently walk on through.
Yeah, it reminds me too. Have you ever seen Bates Motel?
I feel like I did. Was it a TV show or a movie?
It was a TV show. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was about
It was on Netflix?
It was on Netflix. Okay. Yeah, it was on. I think regardless, it was one of those streaming sites. Yeah. But in one of the episodes, the son has to take a polygraph test, and he really composes himself, and he passes it. And everyone's like, "Oh, that's it. He's going to prison." And he comes out with it being passed, and they're like, "What?" So regardless, he passes it with flying colors. There's no signs of deception, and during questioning, since he mentioned the two friends who had been there earlier, they're like, well, we're not really getting anything else from Matt. Let's reach out. Let's talk to Brian
somebody
and Tori.
Else in, yeah.
Yes. So they reach out to them, and they want to check to see, if everybody has the same story and so forth. So they end up interrogating the boys separately, Tori and Brian. They both say they left Cassie's house around 9:30 p.m. to go see the movie. They're like, damn, okay, well, like anything else you can think of, we're trying to figure out what's going on. And so the detective's like, oh, okay, and because this is all recorded. Yeah. And the detective asks Brian, okay, well, what movie did you guys end up seeing anyways? Asking just a basic question. And Brian is struggling to answer. He's like, well, it's just like one of those movies. Like, he's literally like, yeah, and they're like, okay, like, what time was it at? Well, what was the movie about? Like, maybe you don't remember the name, but like, what was the movie about? Like, give me a premise, the plot, the setting. Can't really answer. He's like, I don't know. It's just like one of those movies that they have, like, very much not just giving an answer. Yeah. And he's very fidgety. He also has a stutter. And so, like, in his interrogation video, he's kind of stuttering here and there, which also, from what I've heard, is if you're nervous or anxious, your stutter kind of gets worse or whatnot. And that kind of seemed to be the thing. So the cops are like, okay, that's weird. You can't even explain the plot. Like, that's just strange. You can't even tell me what movie you watch. Not even a genre. Like, it's just weird.
Another reminder. Cell phones weren't a thing. We didn't have social media on your phone.
Oh, like Instagram at the movies.
Yeah, so it's not like he could have been at the movies and been like, yeah, I was on my phone the whole time. That wasn't a thing.
2006, okay? Remember when I asked, what was everyone doing in 2006?
2006.
Yes. So the investigators are like, okay, well, let's go check in at the theater. Now, I learned that there was actually like a local Pocatello student that worked there, and they knew who Brian and Tori were. And so when the cops asked them, okay, well, were they here that night or whatnot? They were like, no. There was no record of them being at the theater. Okay. No record of them being there. Weird. Okay. Why would you lie about that? But then also,
because maybe they were sneaking around.
Oh, okay. Very
They went to the movie, told their parents, yeah, we're going to the movie.
We're going to the movies. And then,
in reality, snuck off, drove their car to a parking lot or something.
Smoked weed.
I wasn't going
Hooked
there.
up with a girl.
That's what I was going with. Yes.
Oh, okay. You were like
Typical
doing what
high
typical. Yeah, and I was like,
school.
finishing the movie.
Oh man.
So it's Tuesday, September 26th, right? Now, remember, she was murdered
This is
on
4
Friday.
days later.
Yes. And police end up bringing Brian Draper back in. The interview now feels a little bit different. And you can tell, like, he looks a lot more nervous, not very steady. Like, he was just very avoiding eye contact. He's sticking to the story that they went to the movies. But they press him on it. And they're like, listen, we know you didn't go. We know you didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
There's no record you being there. And so he changed his story. And he's like, all right, you know what? I didn't want to say this before because I didn't want us to get in trouble. We didn't go to the movies. They're like, okay, so where did you go? And he's like, we actually were driving around and we were on a street checking to see if there was any cars unlocked. They were trying to burglarize cars. Yeah. So they're just like trying to steal.
That's not typical high school stuff. And dude,
you're like, that's Grand Theft Auto, my guy. Damn.
Yo.
Yeah, no.
He said, yeah, we were thieving.
Yeah, no,
What?
literally. And so he's like, that's why I didn't want to say anything earlier. That's why I lied about the movie theater and because we were stealing cars, right?
All right.
Yes. I love it. So he gives this written statement of the virgin and he's released. So now police know something very important, that he lied about that.
He lied.
So the whole time when we were interrogating the other boy named Tori, he's just very laid back. He's very chill. He's not as nervous as Brian is.
Yeah.
And so they're also like trying to
Maybe
get
he's
stuff
an
out
expert
of
car
him.
thief.
Maybe. Who knows? Yeah. It's
Tori's
giving...
just like, yo, this is just another week.
Yeah, just another week for me. Exactly. So let's go to the next day on Wednesday, September 27th. So the next day, Brian is brought in again. Mind you, his parents are present. Okay. And now the story shifts again. His parents are like, you know what? Just tell them. Just tell them, Brian. And so he admits something new. He says, and so he ends up saying that him and Tori actually weren't burglarizing cars.
Oh.
No, they weren't at the movies. They weren't burglarizing cars. When they went over to Cassie's aunt's house and Cassie gave them a tour of the house, one of them sneakily went and unlocked one of the basement doors earlier that night.
Okay.
They drove around for a while after they left Cassie's house, and they actually came back to Cassie's aunt's house because they wanted to scare Matt and Cassie.
Okay.
It was supposed to be a
Still
prank.
seeming innocent right now.
Yes, it was. They were being pranking, is what he's saying. He's like, we're just gonna pull a prank. We're gonna scare them. So when they entered through the basement and they started messing with the fuse box, they were turning the lights on and off. They were making noises. One of the documentaries or somewhere I read, they were saying that they threw like glass at the floor because they were trying to like antagonize them to come down so then they could scare them. They were probably there for maybe like an hour in the basement from what I could see.
Damn.
I know, which to me, I'm like, okay. So they see Matt ends up leaving from the basement windows. And once he leaves, they turn the lights off again. And they head upstairs. And that's when Brian said that Tori had a knife with him.
Oh, shit.
He ends up saying that they went to go scare Cassie. So Brian's like, we went to go scare Cassie, and it ended up going wrong when we got upstairs. Cassie was asking who's there, and Tori ended up responding saying, you know, it's us. And then he got closer to Cassie, and Cassie saw him, and Cassie said something like, oh, like, are you guys kidding me? Like, I'm going to kick your asses. And then Tori ends up jumping at her and stabbing her.
What?
And is just repeatedly stabbing her. And Brian was like, I didn't even know what to do. That he didn't even know that Tori was going to do that. Like, we were here just for a joke. It was just a prank. I don't know what happened. Yeah. And Tori ends up, that's what Brian's like, Tori is stabbing her. Yeah.
What the?
Yes. And he's telling them all these things, right? Brian's telling the cops all these things, and they end up asking him, like, you know, and it's really sad because in the interrogation room, I feel bad for like the parents essentially, because you could tell they're like, okay, you know, like just, and they keep saying like, just tell them everything you know, just tell them everything you know. And even in the documentary that I was watching too, his mom ended up saying that in that moment, she knew, like when they came back, she knew that she had lost them because they're gonna arrest them. Like they're gonna, even if Brian's saying like, oh, Tori was
did it all,
stabbing it, like they're gonna arrest him as well. So Brian is bawling his eyes out at this point, just telling the truth, right? And then the cops end up asking him, what were you guys wearing? Like, where are the knives? Like, where's the
Finish
weapon?
the puzzle.
Yeah,
give us the rest.
what's going on? Like, so he stabbed her. What happened afterwards? Blah, blah, blah. And he says, well, we were wearing these homemade white masks that they put. It's so creepy looking. It is so creepy looking. Gave me chills when I saw it. They were wearing these white masks. They kind of look like Phantom of the Opera if it was the full mask.
Oh, God.
And they had, or like the Jabberwockies, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. And they had like red paint dripping and red and black paint dripping off of it. Yeah. It looked
Jesus.
super scary. It was supposed to be like a scary mask.
Yeah. But still.
They had dark clothing on. So from what I gathered, it was like a black trench coat, like a sweater, hooded or whatnot, and gloves. And then they had their knives. So he says that they weren't in the same clothes that they'd worn during the movie. They actually had changed. And so they had their clothing, they brought the knives with them, and he ends up telling the detectives that he can actually take the cops to where they buried the clothes and the masks and the knife. He's like, let me just take you there. He's fucking saying it all. He's
point for sure,
confessing.
because at this point he doesn't want to go to jail.
Right. And I think too, they were, I mean, not even I think, it sounds a lot like it. Like it's better he say something now because then he could probably get a better deal.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Essentially. So it's like, whatnot. So he's like, all right, I can actually take you guys to where we buried the clothes and the masks and the knife. Okay. So they actually drive him out towards Black Rock Canyon, and it's pretty much a deserted.
I've heard of Black Rock Canyon, yeah.
Have you? It sounded familiar to me too, but I don't. Yeah. I'm like, I don't really know much about Idaho. I could have heard it on a show or something, but it's pretty much a very remote deserted area outside of Pocatello, and it's very dry. It's open. It's not somewhere you would casually wander.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like you'd actually have to drive out there because there's really nothing. You're in the canyons.
Yeah.
And so Brian takes them to a specific area. They start digging, and they find the clothes, the gloves, the homemade mask, the boots, the black trench coat, and a pretty badly burned videotape.
What?
Why would a videotape be here? Brian didn't mention anything about a videotape.
What's on the tape?
I will show you.
What's on the tape?
Thankfully, the cops were able to, because when they found it, they were saying how it was badly burnt. Like, it was really badly burnt, that they weren't even sure that they were going to get anything out of it. Fortunately, they were able to recover everything on the videotape.
Wow.
Yes, everything on the videotape. Now, immediately they're like, why would they burn this tape and bury it with all this other stuff? Most likely, it's going to have the video of Cassie being murdered, is what they're immediately assuming. They're like, this is exactly what it's going to be, because why else would you burn a tape and then bury it alongside murder weapons and your clothes and everything and
that's
evidence.
The only thing that makes sense.
Yes. So let me show you what's on the tape. Now, I'm going to put it in the audio so everybody can hear it. And on YouTube, I'll definitely try to include it where I can. I can also probably post the videos on our socials as well. So I'll definitely do that. Okay, so earlier that morning, Cassie's death, they actually recorded Cassie at school. Now, this is a time, too, where video cameras were, like, new, essentially. Yeah. And so if you had one, it's like, hey, you record cool stuff. Like, not now. Now it's like everybody's doing some dope shit on this.
You can record it on your freaking phone.
Exactly. Okay.
All right.
Hey, look, it's Cassie.
Hey, look, I don't know.
Hello, Cassie. I'm getting you on tape, okay? Say hi, please. Hi. Okay, see ya. Wait, have you seen Tori? He's supposed to meet me here at 7:30, and it's 8:19. He's an hour late. You don't even care, do you? Okay, see ya.
Okay, that's weird.
We're September 22nd, 2006. We're skipping our 4th hour. We're writing our plan right now for tonight. It's gonna be cool. What we're supposed to happen tonight. So hopefully nothing will go wrong. Things will go smoothly. And we can get our first kill done, started, and we can keep going.
Hopefully we don't have to get night failures like we have.
Yeah. We've probably tried maybe 10 times, but they've never been home alone, so.
Or when we have, their parents show up.
As long as we're patient, and we were patient, and never getting paid off because our victim's home alone. So we got our plan all worked out now. So sorry, I'm sorry, Cassie's family, but she had number one. We have to stick with the plan. And she's perfect, so she's gonna die. And then we're gonna stop at Kirsten Barnes' house, probably. And then we have a new victim now. Her name is Miranda Chacon. She started just
So
she told me to be quiet and just shut up, so now she's dead. And how I've always wanted to make a mark on the world myself. And this is a good way to do it.
There's some Mormons out there.
I know.
20 kills. That's why it kills.
That's a lot of people's kills. That would be the perfect game, yes, it would. But we
That
don't.
just jack up murder.
Yeah,
Kills so
that's true.
much.
It would.
I do kills like that.
It's like
You have high for your being one person.
bang.
Bang, bang, bang. See,
We should go like this, each other's heads, and like 1, 2, pull.
So for most of you who are hearing, mainly who you're going to be listening to is Brian talking. The next video I'm going to show you, it's the video of them leading up to going to her house.
Mm-hmm.
In his car, the time is 9:50, September 22nd, 2006. Unfortunately, we have the grueling task of killing our 2 friends. And they are right in that house just down the street.
We just talked to them. We were there for an hour. But
We checked out the whole house. We know there's lots of doors. There's lots of places to hide. I unlocked the back doors, so it's all unlocked. Now we just gotta wait. And yeah, we're really nervous right now, but we're ready.
we're listening to the greatest rock band
We've waited for
ever,
this for a long time.
Pink Floyd, before we commit the ultimate crime of murder.
We waited for this for a long time.
A long time.
We'll stay tuned.
So they don't record the murder. Okay, they don't record the murder, but they do record after they're done with the murder.
Oh.
We just killed Cassie. We just left her house. This is not a fucking joke.
I'm shaking.
I stabbed her in the throat and I saw her lifeless body just disappear. Dude, I just killed Cassie. Oh, fuck. That felt like it wasn't even real. I mean, it went by so
Shut
fast.
the fuck up. We gotta get our act straight.
It's okay. Okay, let's buy movie tickets now.
Okay.
Come on, goodbye.
No.
Goodbye. We're going
And
for a high
plus,
death count.
We're not going not to get caught, Ryan. If we're going for guns, we're just gonna end it. We're just gonna grab the guns and get out of there, kill everybody and leave.
We're going to make history. We're gonna make history.
For all you FBI agents watching this, you weren't quick enough.
We were quick enough and you weren't smart enough. And we're going over to Nixon's house. We're gonna go snoop around over there and try to see if she's home alone or not. And if she's home alone, splat! She did.
Don't put your humor into this, Brian.
I'm not putting any humor into it. Yep. People will die. And then memories will fade.
Memories will fade. I wonder what movie you got that from, Brian.
Myself. That was for myself.
No wonder it was so lame.
Okay, we're on our way, and I'll let you stay tuned. Where's that phone?
We are also taught that things like killing people, and
It's
the
wrong.
other thing is wrong. The only thing that it's wrong about is because it's breaking the law, and the law is only wrong. The law
Natural
is
selection,
there
dude.
because
Natural selection. That's all I gotta say.
there should be no law against killing people. I know it's a wrong thing, but
Natural selection.
hell, you restrict somebody from it, they're gonna want it more.
Exactly. Goodbye.
Okay. Thoughts?
What the actual bleep did I just watch?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how messed up in the head.
Mm-hmm. Sick. Yeah. I know. Absolutely sick.
And the way they were
Laughing as if it's a joke.
What?
Yep. Yep.
what?
And it's crazy because when you see Brian in the interrogation room, he is expressing a lot of sympathy. Well, not sympathy, but like, what is it? Emotion. And he's like, I find it interesting how he's like, oh, Tori stabbed her. I was just there. It all went wrong. But then in the video, in the audio,
you clearly hear him say, I
I
can't believe
just-
I just killed Cassie.
yes.
It went so fast.
Isn't
I
that
watched
crazy?
her lifeless body.
I know. And you know what makes it even creepier? The video, where they have like the Moonlight Sonata playing in the
Yeah.
back, and it's like it's so eerie. It is so eerie, so macabre. I'm like, ew, what the fuck is wrong with you guys?
What the?
Sick in the head.
And
Sick
what do
in the
you
head.
mean grueling task? I'm assuming maybe we'll find out why and who and why, what. But like,
Okay, so
grueling task, what kind of cold are they in?
oh, that's a good point. That's a good thing. Yes. So
Well, because I'm thinking of the other episode that we covered that more or less the same thing, unfortunately, had happened.
which one? Oh, you're talking about the Slenderman.
Slenderman,
Yeah, the
yeah.
Slenderman stabbings. Yes. No, that's a good point. Yes. So they were actually trying to they were lovers of horror movies,
Mm-hmm.
but to the extent of obviously being sick in the head,
Obviously, yeah.
where they wanted to actually create their own horror movie,
Oh,
and they wanted to create their own like horror slasher flick.
okay.
They were inspired by the movie Scream.
Oh,
You see a lot of the similarities here.
yes.
So that was their thing. But also they're messed up in the head because they actually made a list of a number of people that
What?
that were on the list of victims that they would want to murder in their high school.
Oh my gosh.
And the way that they wrote the list was crazy. It's like, they have a list. It's like victims and it's different people's names. Cassie was on there. And then the other thing would be like weapons of choice. And it's like different weapons. It was like they were creating
That
a
is
sick
insane.
psychotic world.
The fact they planned everything out too
Yes.
is insane.
Yes. It's crazy because if you watch the documentary, it's a docuseries on Hulu that just came out. The other victims that were on that list were being interviewed. And some of them even said it was crazy because they actually tried going to another victim's house. I don't know if I think it was like
shit.
either that week or something, but they almost went to this other girl's house. They actually they were looking through her window and she was telling her parents like, oh my God, I think somebody's like by the house. And they're like, oh no, you're probably just overreacting or something. It's not a big deal. It was probably car headlights is what they thought. So she kind of was like, oh, still a little iffy and edgy on it. And it was actually them, but they didn't get to go
Oh my
inside.
gosh.
Yes. And there was like another time where they called one of the other victims on their list's house to see if they picked up or like they were home or not because they were
Mhm.
going to go to their house. So
Jesus.
was like they had people in mind, which is so sad. And then to hear them in the videos, it's disgusting. Them being all like, oh, well, Cassie's going to have to be the one to do. Like, what is wrong with you?
No, for the
Sick.
Jesus.
Sick. Absolutely sick. So with all that being said, they try to make this horror movie. And it's insane, too, because in the interrogation video, one of the questions that they ask him at the beginning, obviously before all this goes on, they ask him, what kind of movies do you like to Brian? And Brian's like, I like a lot of horror movies. I like slasher flicks or
Mhm.
whatever. And then to find out that they're trying to make their
own?
movie is
Yeah.
sickening. It's so sickening. So with everything that Brian said and the videotapes that they have, They now need to confirm it with Tori. Now, regardless, they're planning, like Tori's there in the interrogation room with his parents, and regardless, they're planning on arresting him at the end of the interrogation. But they want to hear his side. They're like, listen, and he's being like a fucking hard ass. Like he thinks that he's trying to call like the cops his bluff and all that, and the cops like keep giving him more like, we know about Black Rock Canyon, you know, we know about the videotapes, we know about this, and then he's like, I need a lawyer. I need to see a lawyer. Yes. And it's so sad too because in the interrogation video, his dad is in the room, and when the detectives leave, Tori pretty much like admits to killing her to his dad, and then the dad's like, "I love you so much, son." Like it was like gut wrenching to see that, And so they end up telling him that he's gonna get charged with first-degree murder.
Well, especially if he potentially had admitted. I don't think one thing people don't ever realize or don't think about
that
is
you're always being recorded in the interrogation
and
room.
there's a reason.
Unless you're
they'll
with your
leave
lawyer.
you alone too.
They do that on purpose.
So that hopefully you confess to if somebody else is in there.
Right. And then they can use that against you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another thing too that you mentioned that. It reminds me, another part of the interrogation that Brian was talking, he's like crying and he's like, oh my God, Cassie, I'll stop him. I'll stop him from hurting you. And then he's like, I just wanted to go out with you. Like he's like bawling his eyes out and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, Cassie. Like I just really liked you and I wanted you to be my girlfriend, or like I want to be your boyfriend or something like that along those lines. And I'm just like, huh? My guy, what? That's crazy.
Insane.
That's crazy. Okay, so they're both getting charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Now they're gonna charge them as adults, even though they're juveniles because of the type of crime. And they try them separately.
Okay.
So it's April 11th of 2007, almost a year later, and Brian Draper's trial starts first. Now, his defense was that, yes, he did play a part, right? He was there, but he was under the impression that they were just going to play a prank. And Tori is the main driver here, and he was the one that was responsible. So they're pretty much just trying to elude that.
So did his lawyers forget about the tapes?
Well, that's not, right. Yeah. No, right.
You know,
no,
where he literally says,
we'll get there.
I killed Cassie.
Yeah, no, we'll get there. We'll get there, yeah. But, okay, so they're trying to allude, right, that he was a bystander. But ultimately, with those videos, no. His verdict.
It's clear that he killed her.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to not, like, imagine being a juror on that jury.
Yeah,
I'd be like, the videos.
The way that I see it too is that video is not somebody else filming you and interrogating you to where you could even say, "Oh, they pressured me to say that."
He's like making a movie.
You could hear the tremble in his voice,
which is a good thing.
Kind of a oh my gosh, I can't believe, like, oh my God, it just went so fast. I can't believe I killed her.
Yeah, and it's a good thing to note because when I was talking about the stutter, in the videos, there's no stutter.
No.
You're like on an all-time high.
Yeah, but you can hear the adrenaline.
Yeah, and in the interrogation videos, like his stutter is off the charts, man. Like he is stuttering crazy, which I'm like, okay, so you're very nervous. Like,
yeah.
So that's interesting, right? So ultimately, they find him guilty on both counts.
Jeez.
So a month later, it's May 31st of 2007. Now it's Tori's turn for his trial to start. And we end up learning that Tori's DNA was actually found on one mask and his shirt, but Brian's DNA was found on everything.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
Which isn't that interesting? That's crazy.
It's a little interesting.
So their strategy was to show that the police pretty much stopped investigating once they got the video. Once Brian had his confession, they were like, you know what? That's it. This is it. This is exactly how it happened. We're not going to investigate anymore.
In all reality, Tori didn't really get a chance to even justify anything.
Didn't. And he also was like the whole time was trying to call their bluff. And so then he lawyered up before he even said anything. So ultimately the only person who, if you think about it, confessed to being the one that stabbed Cassie was Brian. And the video, he also was the one, I mean, he doesn't say it in the interrogation, but he said it in the video.
Clearly in the video.
Right, and we know that this, because it's timestamped.
And that's the thing, Tori never said he did anything in the video. He just said, "Oh, I can't believe we killed her."
Right. So exactly, nothing's like it technically pointing to him. So that's what his lawyer's trying to play up, right? And especially seeing like the DNA or whatnot, right? They were saying that in Tori's defense, Brian's the one that did the stabbing because all the evidence ended up showing that. Like nothing really tied Tori to the DNA essentially. Obviously the DNA is on one of his masks because he wore it, but
Yeah.
What does that say? That he was there. At this point, they're painting Tori to be a bystander because there's no specific DNA or witness, right? The forensic evidence wasn't matching that because Tori's DNA wasn't found on anything, but Brian's was found on everything. Now, Cassie's DNA was found on one mask, one knife, and this one shirt, and those all were tied to Brian. Interesting. Yes. So the evidence clearly showed that Brian Draper was the killer. Right.
Yeah.
But they both could have been the killer, to be quiet. They were both there. They're both the killer.
Yeah.
I don't really. Yeah. So there's no direct evidence that Tori's hands were really on that knife, but they were both there. And we both saw the video. So regardless, yeah, Brian was already showing signs of harming people, even though they both were. So one of the things that I was learning too is that Brian was actually idolizing Columbine.
I was just going to ask. Because I mean, Columbine happened, what? That would have been 10 years?
No, it was the late 90s, yeah.
About 7 years early. Yeah, 7 years earlier or so. And part of me initially started thinking maybe that was part of it because we've seen this unfortunately time and time again. These big murders, mass murders get coverage.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately it leads to...
like
what
wannabes?
do they call them?
Yeah,
not wannabes. There's like a name for them, repeaters or something like that.
Yeah, I forgot what
copycats.
Copycats. Yeah.
And that ends up leading to a similar thing. And we even see it in NCIS, all these other crime TV shows.
Well, they're all based off of real crime.
Yeah.
So
I also wondered if that was part of it. And obviously it kind of sounds like that was.
He was idolizing Columbine. Like that was a thing that he, for some reason, just felt like he wasn't very seen. He didn't feel very popular. You know, he had the stutter. He felt different. And he kind of gravitated towards that. And so they had found a lot of him, like him watching the videos, which mind you, like we covered that episode. I can't even, it's just so horrific that to think that he's literally watching this as
almost a training video.
Yeah, training video almost essentially. And he wanted to quote unquote leave his mark on history, which I'm like, just disgusting. It's disgusting, yes. Now, from what I was seeing, all the wounds were actually created by the Rambo knife.
Is that this one? Oh, I think I see it.
One of them was like huge.
It.
I'm telling you, like they were going for the biggest knife that they could. They were trying to recreate Scream. They were trying to recreate Ghostface.
I see, yeah.
So they were going for the biggest knife that they could, yes. Do you see it in that slide that you're on? Yep. And so most of the wounds were created by the Rambo knife, and the owner of that knife was actually Brian. And another thing too that I was seeing is that after Brian was arrested, they actually find some written stories on his laptop that he created. And they were violent. It was like a violent story about two students committing a school shooting at Pocatello High School.
What the hell?
Yes. And it was called the Black River. And it was almost like he was coping with those thoughts by writing the story. Yeah. But that already shows you the headspace he was in. Yes, the headspace that in. So at Tori's trial, the verdict ends up coming in, and he is also found guilty, of course.
Jesus.
They saw it as both boys were there, both boys are guilty, which 100%.
And I'm looking, no joke.
Because they planned this.
Well, yeah, but I'm also looking at the photos, and in my opinion, looking at the photos, the person that actually looks like he is sad and upset about what happened is Tori.
Yeah, him at trial. Yeah, his trial
Brian
videos,
looks like he's just like...
He ends up speaking out. Yeah, Tori ends up speaking out when he's a lot older, and he says that like in those moments, like he didn't really understand the gravity of things, until that moment. And so that's definitely why he's sad, because he just, they actually end up sentencing, the judge ends up sentencing them together, and they sentence them to life without the possibility of parole.
Damn.
Plus 30 years for the conspiracy to murder.
So
they're living,
There's nothing.
And they could appeal, but they've been denied.
No chance,
They've been denied and everything. And it's kind of crazy, because if you watch the docuseries, they also talk a lot about, it's the topic everybody talks about, should they continue to pay for a crime that they committed when they were 16? Your brain is still developing. It's a whole thing. And so there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, they should, because the whole point of prison is to rehabilitate. And essentially they were still young and blah, blah, blah and all this. But obviously her family's like, no.
Yeah.
But I don't get Cassie to stay, which I can completely get.
100%.
It's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those that it's like.
It's also interesting too. If anyone's ever done research on the way prisons work around the world, it's also interesting to kind of look
it's like
at
a reform.
some of but some of the prison structures in other countries that have even much lower crime rates than the US.
Yeah.
And you look at their prison reform, and even for murders, they have way to reform. However, it's obviously a lot longer process.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got a whole
and everything.
Yeah,
but it's not. Obviously there's certain exceptions in some of them, but I want to say it's either Norway or one of those countries.
Are you talking about the one that looks like they have their own bedroom?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a dormitory.
What? Yes.
Yes. I read into theirs.
They get all that.
And they have. I can't remember exactly what the statistic was, but it was really high. Like I'm talking. And I could be a little wrong on this. I want to say it was over 60% of people that serve at least one sentence in prison never come back to serve another prison sentence.
Wow, that's crazy.
Because the reform there works so well that they go back into being actual good citizens.
Yeah. But that's crazy, man. I think that's tough because you've committed the ultimate sin.
Like this is the sin.
Yeah, this is like, you just don't do
that. And on
that.
top of
that's
it,
just crazy.
Even, no offense, but in my opinion, if I was a parent of a kid that got killed and then I find out you're walking free, I'm gonna probably just risk my own life to
if anything you're gonna call. Yeah, I know. That's
or
what
I'll find somebody to do it.
Right.
It gets into that kind of headspace of even if you did reform and you became a really good person,
like I don't give a fuck. Yeah,
it almost is your life safer staying in prison.
Right. And then
because
that
there's
in
people
itself,
that if they found out that you were free. Unless you're under like, I don't know, what is it?
you're talking like witness protection or something? Yeah. Well, and Brian's, Brian's dad in the docuseries, he ends up saying something like, he said that when Brian ended up going and started his sentence or whatnot, he was having a tough time because he murdered a young girl. Yeah. Inmates don't like that. So as you can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the judge ends up sentencing them both to life without the possibility of parole, and he even apologizes because they're kids. He's like, listen, you guys are kids, but he was so convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that if they were to be released, that they would kill again.
I mean, truthfully,
the judge was like...
That's the thing. Yeah. Seeing the video, hearing the way they were talking,
like
the way they planned and everything.
Oh.
I think if I was a judge, I feel like I would ultimately make the same choice.
Right.
And just be like, look, I'm sorry, but I feel like you guys in your headspace, you're not safe to be in society.
And what was it? I think it was either his parents or whatnot. They were just talking about how, I don't know exactly which one it was, but they were pretty much saying like, well, without parole, like, maybe have them be in prison for 30-something years and then give them the possibility of parole. But it's like, well, and that's the thing. Like, nobody wants to see, because that's what everybody kept talking about. Like, nobody wants to see a teenager. You're still a kid. Get sentenced to life without parole. But, I mean, they made it clear they wanted to kill people. So, you also can't. Yeah, it
gets into tricky.
It's serious. Yeah, it's intense. It's intense. But, I mean, they should definitely freaking go. Both of them should be in prison for sure.
Yes.
For sure. I'll also link the docuseries in our sources on our website. I also saw there was a video that Law and Crime did on YouTube. It was like Prime Crime segment with Jesse Weber. It was really good as well. I highly recommend it. I'll even add it in the episode description if you guys want to go check it out. I think it's like it's definitely under an hour or whatnot. But they have so much information on this case, like literally down to the nitty gritty. Now, Brian's mom said that after he was sentenced and all that, she actually went to a diner with her daughter, and Cassie's family was actually there.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually went up to her and like thanked her for showing her family so much respect, because the whole time Brian's mom and dad was like, if Brian's dad even mentions it in an interview, and he says, I have a daughter, and if it were my daughter, I would want the person who did commit this murder to become clean and show us that respect, blah, blah. So the whole time, his mom and dad were always like, you need to just own up. Like, that's it. You're going to prison. As much as it's going to hurt us, you you did this crime and it's not right, it's not fair. So that was insane. But the dad talks about how he's still his parent even if he's in jail, and he just has such a hard time with it because the pain that he caused Cassie and also his family. So it's
I was gonna
it's
say,
tricky.
I feel like that's the toughest part as a parent is I'm trying to put myself in those shoes, and I'm like, damn,
dude, you can't. That's such a dark place to be.
The fact that like your own kid did this, but now you're literally having to say, I'm sorry, but
yeah, because what do you always hear? Your parents want to protect you. They want to make sure that you're safe, that you're fine, that you're okay.
I also would feel so sick to my stomach because then I would be now going to sleep thinking, and this is maybe just more of my anxiety, but instantly I'd just be going to sleep like, damn, like where did I fail? Did I do something wrong that caused this?
100%. That's what a lot of parents feel. Yeah. Especially if you like a lot of the interviews with them, they had talked about that. Yeah. Like, damn, it really, One of the things that I was also gathering from the documentary is that they went to a pawn shop earlier, like weeks prior, and that's pretty much how they were able to purchase all these knives.
Damn.
Yeah. And so another thing too that I learned is that the person who ended up bringing everything, because Tori's mom in the interview, she actually is in the documentary as well. And she says that she thought Brian was the aggressor because everything was always kept at Brian's house. Mm-hmm. So the knives, the clothing, the masks, everything was always kept at Brian's house. And who had to bring it there was him. Mm-hmm. So essentially she's like, I always thought he was the aggressor and blah, 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 and all this stuff. But there's a lot of controversy with her from what I was gathering online as well. Because she also feels that Tori shouldn't be in prison. There's a bunch of other stuff. But anyways, so it just kind of raises that question of like, who really was driving? Yeah. We'll never know because they're both going to say one or the other. And they admit to it, that's another thing too. Tori and Brian actually come out in the docuseries and they answer some questions as well. And they ask him about that time. And he says, like at 16, he did not understand what it really meant to take a life. And he claims that he didn't really comprehend what the consequence would be, like how permanent doing that would be. And he really frames it as like he was just emotionally immature. He really didn't understand that. He says that the person who did that is no longer alive. So he's pretty much saying like my 16-year-old self is dead. And it's like, well, yeah, of course, everybody's 16-year-old self is dead. But whatever. I'm just like, I can't empathize with you. Really, I can't.
No, for real.
And so he was even saying like he feels like he's serving a punishment for a version of himself that no longer existed because he had changed and grew in prison. And I'm like, buddy. Okay, but anyways, so he says, and he said one thing too that I found very interesting, that he was like, oh, now when I think of Cassie, I always see her like such a little girl, like he can't believe he did that. And I'm like, okay. And he expresses the disbelief of like what they did, but he felt like he said that he's like, I felt like I was at a breaking point at that point. Like he didn't know what to do. He thought that was like the right answer essentially, which is
crazy.
Also, Tori had answered some questions and he said at this time he felt like he hadn't like woken up for a very long time, that he was very disbelieving in God.
Both of them just didn't know.
Yeah, he felt like he had no point in life, that he felt very disconnected. He pretty much described himself as a 16-year-old with just bad ideas. And he claimed that him and Brian were not the same, but they both hated life in their own ways. And that's how they kind of coexisted. They kind of fed each other, essentially. Yeah. Which, if you think about Columbine, that was the same thing. Jinx.
I owe you a foot rub.
You sure do. So it was the same thing. It was like two people that shouldn't have met, because a lot of even the classmates even talked about like, oh, what happens if they never met, if they didn't meet, or they didn't become friends or whatnot. But Tori apparently did come out to his mom while in prison, so he came out as gay. That was the first time he openly told anybody that he was gay. Yes. And he just said his whole life he always felt like an outcast or whatnot. But it just really sucks because at the end of the day, why? Like, she was a friend. She was such a good person. Like, why would you? It's like choose Cassie.
Why would you choose anyone?
Yeah,
but
anybody.
It's just
facts.
It's just one of those truthfully, what came in your mind that made you
Yeah.
fully
Well, they
confident
ask
that
him.
this is just
Yeah, this is right. Like, oh yeah,
like
let me
even
go
being
through
lost,
with it.
even
Yeah.
thinking, oh well, I mean,
Right.
I thought there was nothing else.
But to have a
It
list,
just
yes, yeah, that's
that
crazy.
just to me it takes it to a different,
It's a different level. It's a different level, yeah. And it just makes it even worse.
More psychologically
even
sick.
horribly. Yeah, yes, disgusting, yes. And they ask him, they're like, so why Cassie? And he pretty much was like, she was a friend. She was outgoing. She made him feel comfortable. And she was like accessible. And she was alone at her aunt's house. So she kind of, which in the video you saw, it's like, sorry, Cassie, it had to be you. I had to be like idiots, they're like, hee-haw, hee-haw.
Which again,
that's all
it
you
just
hear.
goes even more to the whole.
It makes it more tragic.
Sucks
It's terrible.
she didn't leave with Matt because
I know.
if she had just gone,
I know. She would have still been here, and she would have.
And then the other opposite side too. What if Matt had ended up convincing his mom, like, oh, just let me stay a night?
Then Matt would have also, yeah. That's the other thing too. Like while I was researching, a lot of people were like, they had said that they're like, damn. And then what if that didn't happen that night? Would there have been a shooting? You know what I mean? Like they're at the school because they were unhinged. Like they were just unhinged making these videos.
It's clear.
It's insane,
It's clear until they made a move. I mean, it sounds like they were getting ready to do multiple moves too in just one night.
Yeah. They were just going for. They were just wanting to end people's lives. That's all they cared about.
It's insane.
So they actually are in prison at the same prison, from what I was gathering.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked like if they were friends or whatnot. Like, do they talk now? And they're not friends. They're cordial, but they don't communicate at all. I think it was Brian that said they had a conversation about like 10 years ago where they pretty much both accepted responsibility for what happened to Cassie that night, and that's pretty much it. Like their friendship, their bond is gone. Yeah. Which in reality makes you think, like at the end, like what were you guys even really friends, or were you guys just feeding off of each other's misery? Knowing that we ended up losing. I mean, the world ends up losing Cassie Jo Stoddart. It's so sad, all because these kids just wanted to be psychos and create their own scream. It's just so, and
it's
to
sickening.
think, it's sickening, and then like to think of the horror that goes behind. If you think about like her last moments, how terrible that must have been, because not only your house sitting at your aunt's house, the light goes out, and then you notice two friends that, you think are your friends, show up in these masks. And like
then
trench
all of a sudden
coats.
they start killing you?
Yeah, like that's just, man, absolutely terrible. And I mean, I say they stay in jail for the rest of their life. Yeah. I say that. I agree. But they ended up, there was a news article that came out about Cassie Jo, and I wanted to read it real quick because it just kind of told you a little bit more of who she was. And man, she was so cool. Like, she was really so cool. Part of the article, it says she was very fond of different teachers. She was even very fond of the principal and counselor and many others. So she really made an impact at the school. And at the time of her death, Cassie was a junior at Pocatello High School and enjoyed the friendship of her classmates, friends, and teachers. Cassie enjoyed artwork and loved to draw. Yes, queen. Yes, queen.
She was a creative.
I mean, she just looks so cool. I would have loved to be her friends. She loved watching movies, reading, and participating in the Peace Village, where she enjoyed making friends with younger children. She also played soccer. Cassie loved her dog, Tinky, and all the other animals. She was positive and very optimistic about her future and planned to go to college and have a career.
Damn.
I know.
And I think that's another shitty thing too, especially when it's a kid.
Oh, terrible.
But when it's a kid too, you've not even gotten to experience life.
Yeah, it's
after
sad.
School. And you literally had all of that robbed from you.
And for what? Because you were just kind.
Yes.
You were sweet. You were friendly. You were outgoing. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's terrible. It's honestly absolutely terrible. And I hope they rot in hell. Mm-hmm. And that's all I'll say. That was the episode of today. If you guys want to go check out the Hulu documentary, it's called The Scream Murder, because they were basing it off of the movie Scream, because they were trying to make their own horror movie. But
oh man,
I know that was heavy.
I gotta say, I'm glad that we have some lighter episodes, because
I know it's heavy. It's heavy.
These suck, man.
It's heavy, and it's so sad to know that this is I think once you start learning a lot more about different cases or just tragedies or stories and all that, you know, it's like when you're younger, you're like, oh no, like that would never happen. And then you learn so much and you're like, oh my God, no, anything could really happen. Like you've got to make sure you're trying to be and even when you are being as cautious and as safe as possible, stuff still happens. You know, like you could go out for a run in the middle of the day, doing everything exactly to the T, the way that they say you should do it to be as safe as possible. And then you just never really know, because there are cases like that too that are unfortunate. And so this is definitely one of them too, because she was just a kid.
Yeah.
She was just like house sitting for her aunt. She was probably going to have a nice weekend to herself with the dogs. She liked to read. She liked to draw.
Yeah.
She was, it's just so sad that we had to lose that. So our hearts really do go out with Cassie Jo's family, and it's just sad. Just so sad. And may they rot in hell. Amen. Thank you for joining us today on Macabre Mondays. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you know more about today's episode or caught a detail we might have missed, let us know.
Or if you have a story that's strange, sinister, and downright spooky, doesn't matter how small you may think it is, send it our way. You can email us at macabremondays@gmail.com or head over to macabremondays.com to submit your story. Yours just might be featured in an upcoming listener episode.
Follow us on social media by searching Macabre Mondays for photos of today's episode, updates, and a little extra spooky fun. We'll see you next Monday for another sinister, strange, and spooky episode. Stay tuned. More mysteries just around the corner. But until then, stay curious and stay safe, friends.
Deuces.
Bye.